Hello and welcome to our place in Sicily. Today we're back up on the roof for part 6. So the last time you saw us, we had the metal roof up and the wood sort of structure attached on the left side here. And we told you that was because we were putting the tiles back on. So right now we have the guys basically putting the tiles back on for decorative purposes only. These are not needed for any part of keeping our roof watertight or anything. They have saved all of these tiles. They're in places all over the Palazzo. There's some inside the house that they took off the front of that, and handed down from the front. And they're basically going through them, picking the best ones. There were some that are broken. I think you can see along the scaffolding there that there are many broken pieces. Obviously a very manual job. I know the stacks don't look that big or heavy. These guys are truly very strong. They are hustling and building and just... I've lifted up one of these, I guess is what I'm saying. And I don't know if you could have seen me carrying 2 of them. These guys make them look small, but they are not. They're not small. And they're not light, which is what keeps them from flying off the roof. Anyways, I would love to hear what you think about this in the comments. Do you agree with us that this was worthwhile? I mean, look at the patina. We could have put brand new tiles on here. They would have been perfectly terracotta, but they wouldn't have had all of this sort of beautiful patina. It makes it look, as we pull up, you can kind of see how the other houses look. You can see just in the bottom part of the picture, that's what the new tile would have looked like, but I kind of love the old tile. Also, what happened the next day after we filmed that was that it was time to pour the cement around the border of that ceiling roof, which is the kitchen. But let me just take you up here and show you what the guys got done on that day we were filming. So they got much further. The part that is, and you can see also they did the seam of the roof. But the part that wasn't covered is where we're going to put our solar tiles. We're working on that process now. For the purposes of not making you watch a lot of boring footage, this is actually speeded up through like 3 times, 300%. It's a very slow, as you can imagine, this thing is stories tall, but the cement truck was doing this different than we ever had it done before, which in the past, we had a smaller crane and cement truck on the same automobile, on the same truck. But here, we're getting the crane truck, do you call it a crane? I'm not sure. But it's basically unfolding. It feels like a bug, like undoing its arms. And on the very tip of this, it's sort of going to flip over now. Is a big tube. It doesn't look that big, but it's probably, 8 inches in diameter, maybe 10. And the cement truck is going to hook up in just a minute to this and pump up the cement into the outer edge here. So just to orient you, on the left side is the main part of the main house, and we're working on the kitchen wing of the main house. And this is going to be a ceiling roof that is different than the rest of the main house, which is why it hasn't been worked on yet. And like I said, our cement truck here is going to back up. It has to pull forward before it can back up. You do that a lot in Italy. And it's going to hook up here to the crane pump. It'd be really good if I knew what these things were called before I put them on video, but bear with me. It's hooking up to this, Once again, there's a guy who gets the magical, cool remote control that manages all of this. And if I didn't know better, I think if I would have known about this when I was a child, this would have been the job I got to do, which is the main remote control holder job. So the whole reason why we're doing this, let's talk a little bit about the kitchen ceiling roof, is basically to build one solid sort of platform to work off of to secure those main cross wood. They're not just decorative, but they are decorative pieces in place. And the rest of the roof parts are going to rest all along this new cement platform that we're making. I love watching processes like this. So basically, they're pumping it in. The gentleman holding the tube where the cement is coming in is actually, I believe, the son-in-law of the woman who rented the downstairs for 50 years. So once again, we have direct connection. Our workers are not just, happy to work on this cool project and happy to be working in their town, but, they're connected to this place too, which it just makes for like one of the best working partnerships, I think. So then you can see that's Alfio in the red, and he is our fantastic expert with kind of with all things, but is always the guy who's in charge of the cement, the brick, and you could call him a mason, but that's what you would call us because we're masons. That's our last name, by the way, guys, if I'm confusing you. Anyway, so there's a sort of step process. You got the guy to the right who's standing up on the bench on the top terrace. That is above the dining room. Then you have Carmela, who is holding the tube that is bringing up the cement. You have Alfio sort of doing the work to get it smooth. It is interesting, it takes a few passes, and then the other guys are working together. This tool they have is kind of like, for lack of a better word, a vibrating tool that just sort of makes sure there isn't a big air pocket stuck in there. That would be lousy if we pulled all this off and there was like a giant hole. So they just need to stick it in. It shakes up the cement just enough, encourages it to settle, and they just work their way all the way around this. So that's what you'll watch while I sort of tell you why are we doing a different roof. Essentially, we're doing the different roof because this was not built at the same time as the other roof. We think this might have been part of the first structure, and it had a different setup. So from the corner closest to us to where the guys are standing now, that wood beam, this was similar structure. It was built in that sort of slope, but then the back part of this, it stops going like with the line down the middle, and it goes out to all four corners really. So because we were putting two rooms together, one room had a coved ceiling type ceiling, and the other one had multiple rounded barreled ceilings. We had to start fresh, and it took us a while to figure out exactly how we were going to do this. If you watched other videos, you might have heard us talking about how we might incorporate the skeleton of the old ceiling in this, but in the long run, we decided that we were going to have the best kind of ceiling that will last the longest and still be true to the form of the house, by doing a full wood ceiling. So this will be a vaulted ceiling, essentially going up to the top of the wood supports you see now, and then out to those corners on the right where Carmelo is filling right now. And so next will come some large pieces of wood similar in size to what we have there already, and then some intermediate size that will basically create the new skeleton. And then on top of that will be wood boards like we put on the other side. Now, we went back and forth. Are we going to do like tongue and groove boards, very fancy, very, clean and simple, or are we going to go with the same kind of boards we put on the other? These are the strange things we need to think about that I've never had to think about before, that this time I needed to have discussions with Igor, the architect, with Jenn, our designer, and with Matt and I over dinners, multiple dinners. How do we do this? Because a brand new, beautiful wood ceiling would kind of be, well, it wouldn't be out of character to be wood, but it would be out of character to look brand new. And we're pretty sure we're putting like a micro cement floor down in maybe a terracotta color. And I'm going to stop here just for a second to tell you now, you can see they sort of skipped apart along the opposite side, but what's happening is that Carmelo is going to the other end and basically coming out to meet where they've reached so far. But back to our choices and our design. So we looked at so many things online. We looked at Pinterest. We pulled pictures. We had meetings. And what we basically came up with is that instead of, beautiful, pristine tongue and groove wood, we're going to put in the boards like we did on the other side. As of right now, that's the plan. Everything can change. And we're going to just stain it one color. We're going to go for those of you who get your hair dyed, we're going to go for like an ashy color that looks more like an aged wood tone. When you just leave a piece of wood out to the elements, like cedar shakes, they get a little more gray and a little less yellow. So anyways, we're going to go with something like that. And then we have a surprise, not sharing it yet, because if I share it, then it'll get changed. But we're going to do a sort of a painted, stained glaze treatment to the ceiling afterwards to just make it fit. Just give it that, not to be too cliche, but that chef's kiss of an artist look that refers back to other designs in the house and shows, or looks like it shows, some age, and just really gives the ceiling a little bit of soul to match the rest of the Palazzo. I am so excited to see this in action, and this is likely going to be done before we get back from our road trip around Italy, doing our little personal research project of understanding our new country better. But in the meantime, these guys will be working on all parts. The big goal is to get the scaffolding down as soon as possible. So that means finishing this roof. Well, this is actually like a ceiling and roof, because once the wood goes on, like the main ceiling, the metal roof will go on top, and then they put more of those old tiles that we have. And they'll be working, and already have started working, sort of cleaning off the stucco, which is called intonaco, off the outside of the palazzo. Some of that will just be left as stone, exposed stone, to help with the damp problem we have here in Sicily, and I think in most parts of Italy as well. And then they will work on putting the new finish on the front top half, the intonaco, the stucco. We're working on getting the perfect color. We got some samples and they're not quite right yet. We'll talk more about that in another video. But so there's a lot that will be done. The other goal is to have them finish doing all of the rest of the demo on the Palazzo, get the house like sealed up, take out the old doors so they can measure for new doors and keep going. In the meantime, they'll be working on that guest house, which now has plumbing, and the electrician is coming back this week. So much is going on. But today we just wanted to show you this very cool procedure. Doesn't happen everywhere. It's kind of a retrofit for an old house. A new house would have brand new walls and wouldn't need this. And how they get it up the back of a house where there's a 20-some foot retaining wall first and then a 2-story house is just fascinating. I feel like I am getting smarter every single day. I wish I was getting stronger every single day because I could join the crew. But I will never be as strong as these guys. So if you like this and you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe or share it with someone you know would love to. Leave a comment. That all helps us get more eyes and share it with more people. So, we love a thumbs up, a comment, a like, a subscribe. And until next time, ciao, ciao.